Is China replicating our best STEM schools? The CCP is targeting Canadian activism for the Uyghurs and Tibetans, and Beijing's neighbors are arming up. Then more on this week's China News headlines. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell, and this episode is sponsored by Saily. Tired of wonky data service when you travel? Check out Saily. It's an affordable way to stay connected whenever you go overseas. I'll explain more at the end. China is planning to issue a record $3 trillion yuan in special treasury bonds. This money will be used to fund subsidies and investments in the high-tech sector because they need more resources for theft of intellectual property. Research and development. The idea is to boost China's flagging economy. The CCP says boosting consumption is a priority, but they're also raising the target budget deficit to an all-time high of 4% of GDP. Because when you're in a financial hole, the best way to dig your way out is with even more debt and spending. Researchers at Goldman Sachs wrote that these stimulus efforts could help offset the impact of expected U.S. tariffs on Chinese exports. But overall growth for next year in China is still forecasted to be slower than the CCP would like. Thankfully, the growth they report will magically be better than all the forecasts and actual metrics from everyone else. Don't look into it, though. It's magic. The Chinese Communist Party is taking steps against certain Canadian institutions and individuals for their pro-Uyghur and pro-Tibetan activism. Because of course it is. According to the Chinese Foreign Ministry, the measures the CCP took include asset freezes and bans on entry. And the targets include Canada's Uyghur Rights Advocacy Project and the Canada-Tibet Committee. In particular, the CCP said it will be freezing property belonging to both institutions within Chinese territory. I wonder if these people and groups actually have any assets in China, or if the CCP is just blowing smoke. But in addition to freezing assets, the CCP also banned the targeted individuals from entering Macau, Hong Kong, and mainland China, because these refugees and activists just have so much property and interest in going to China. The CCP's territorial ambitions in the South China Sea are being challenged by new missile and military aid packages for its neighbors, Vietnam and the Philippines. And the CCP is not happy. The two countries are nearing a $700 million deal to acquire BrahMos missiles, which were jointly developed between Russia and India. I guess BRICS is working out just perfectly for China, right? The BrahMos missiles are supersonic, making them difficult to intercept, and can also be launched from the air, land, or sea. The Philippines already acquired its first batch of these missiles earlier this year, calling them a significant game changer. The Philippines are also trying to purchase the U.S. Army's mid-range capability missile, also known as the MRC Typhoon, which is incredibly mobile and can target enemies on land and at sea. Since April, one of these systems has already been stationed on the island of Luzon, with both the U.S. and the Philippines emphasizing that this is just for training purposes. Of course, China condemned it anyway, because they would never use training exercises as a way to intimidate their neighbors. Remember, every China accusation is actually a confession. They're especially upset because the Typhoon, using Tomahawk missiles, can hit much of China's eastern seaboard, as well as its militarized islands in the South China Sea. Beijing has called these developments disturbing and an escalation, because again, the CCP is the victim here. But Vietnam and the Philippines aren't alone in getting some juicy military supplies from Santa. Taiwan just received a new military aid package from the U.S. President Joe Biden, yes, he's still president, last Saturday authorized up to $571 million worth of material and services to Taiwan, which also includes military training and education. Then, in a separate move, the Department of Defense said that $295 million in military sales had been approved. This comes after many previous large arms sales to Taiwan earlier this year. China has declared that the U.S. is playing with fire for helping arm Taiwan, and it will undermine peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. China's peaceful military takeover of Taiwan. How dare the U.S.? And after the break, China is buying off America's top STEM schools. Welcome back. The CCP has cloned America's leading STEM high school, and it appears it got some help from U.S. educators. The school is Thomas Jefferson High School in Fairfax County, Virginia, just outside D.C. It's one of the best in the U.S. for science, engineering, math, and technology. So the Chinese Communist Party is cloning it in China. According to Parents Defending Education, or PDE, Thomas Jefferson High School gave permission to China-affiliated organizations to create schools in China using the school's name and likeness, along with its curriculum and syllabi. And honestly, the most surprising part of this story is that they asked for permission instead of just stealing it. Now, by pure coincidence, Fairfax County Public Schools Thomas Jefferson Partnership Fund has received over $1 million worth of donations from Chinese interests since 2014. Fancy that! So, besides science, engineering, math, and technology, they're also one of the best schools in the U.S. for business, specifically the shady kind that won't end well. But wait, there's more. PDE commissioned a report called Little Red Classrooms. It showed the Confucius Institute quote-unquote Chinese cultural promotion programs at U.S. universities gave funding to K-12 schools across the country. For example, in Texas, the Confucius Institute at the University of Texas at Dallas gave Highland Park Independent School District a $20,000 grant in 2020 for the operation and supplies of the Chinese courses. The funds were also to be used by a district staff member to travel to China for educational purposes, aka propaganda. There are many other examples, but get this. A lot of these schools were located in the vicinity of U.S. military bases. I'm sure that's just a coincidence, just like how farmland bought by China is near U.S. military bases. Yeah, just a bunch of carefully coordinated coincidences. Nearly all of the Confucius Institutes in the U.S. have been closed since 2018, when Congress restricted federal funding to schools that had them. But with this kind of thing still happening, it seems like maybe more might need to be done. PDE has gone to the federal government about the issue, so once again, the CCP is trying to circumvent new federal restrictions on its influence to gain access to American youth, including through influential donor groups. Because apparently TikTok wasn't enough. China has abruptly changed the army general overseeing political loyalty for its ground forces. The new commissar, General Chen Hui. Chen is replacing Qin Shutong, who stepped down for unknown reasons. Because nothing creates political loyalty like force and fear. Yep, historically that's never come back to bite anyone. Chen previously served in the Air Force and was even named as the political commissar for the new aerospace force of the PLA. But after less than a year, he's been moved to overseeing ground forces, even though he has zero experience. But hey, who needs experience when you have the most important physical characteristic Xi is looking for, specifically a brown nose? Qin and also the ground forces commander Li Qiaoming were not seen at Chen's promotion ceremony, which only makes the whole thing seem even more fishy. Political and military experts are urging the U.S. to use a logistics pact with Taiwan to counter the CCP. A new U.S. government report has noted the way the CCP's planes and military drills are slowly inching closer and closer to Taiwan. Essentially, they're playing the high-stakes version of I'm not touching you to see how much they can get away with. In response, the U.S. has boosted military aid to Taiwan, like I mentioned earlier. Yet some experts say it's not enough. They're urging the White House to deter China using the ACSA, which stands for the U.S.-Taiwan Acquisition and Cross-Servicing Agreement. The agreement is rarely discussed, but it allows the DoD to exchange supplies, services, and logistical support with its partners and allies. And it would also mean the U.S. could refuel its warplanes on the island. Trey Meeks, a senior fellow at the Center for a New American Security and a retired U.S. Air Force colonel, said that low-cost strategies like this would boost Taiwan's morale and demonstrate U.S. resolve, which could help counter China's new normal of constant and escalated military coercion. He also suggested that a visiting U.S. Coast Guard ship in the region could make a stop at the island, which would also signal that larger and more powerful U.S. ships might follow up. But, I'm sure a few more high-level random purges in China's military will make them quite the fighting force, so USA, beware. And this episode is sponsored by Saily. Before COVID, I traveled a lot for China Uncensored. Taiwan, Hong Kong, Australia, the Philippines, even both Koreas. Every time I went overseas, getting data service on my mobile phone was a serious problem. I'd have to find a store that sold SIM cards, pay some ridiculous fee, and pray I didn't lose my old SIM card while traveling. Or I could try to connect to Wi-Fi, but I could only get that while in my hotel or with some potentially dangerous public Wi-Fi that puts me at risk of being hacked. But now, there's a much better solution. Saily. It's an eSIM service, which is like a regular SIM card, only better. Saily keeps you connected to the internet all the time, pretty much no matter where you are in the world. Here's how it works. You download the app for iPhone or Android. You only have to do this once. Then before each trip, choose a plan that works for you. You can choose a region or a specific country, like Taiwan, which is a country, and then selects a data plan that lets you stay connected to the internet there for your entire trip. It's that easy. And if you run into any hurdles, Saily has great customer support that's staffed 24/7 by actual human beings who will help you. Saily works with pretty much every iPhone or Android made in 2020 or later. And Saily has a special discount for China Uncensored viewers. Get an exclusive 15% discount on Saily eSIM data plans. Download the Saily app and use the code UNCENSORED at checkout. You can scan the code on screen right now and get started today. The link is also in the description. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching China Uncensored.
All right, we have with us now on Hot Copy House Quadcom co-chairman and Manila 6th District Representative Benny Abante. Representative Abante, good morning to you.
Good morning, Karen. Good morning to all of you there watching this channel right now. Thank you.
All right, so let's go straight to the point. Did you and Representative Dan Fernandez instruct Police Colonel Hector Grijaldo to confirm the reward system in Davao, in effect asking him to lie?
I already made a statement that there is no truth to the accusations of Colonel Grijaldo, that I forced anyone or we forced anyone to sign any affidavit in exchange to favors or the possibility of promotions. And that is what I said in the media, Karen.
All right, but this is the point, Representative Abante. Wait, I won't let that go just yet. What is your business and Dan Fernandez's business speaking to a resource person? Why would you do that?
He was actually a classmate of Colonel Garma. And Colonel Garma asked us if we can talk to Colonel Grijaldo because he has something to say. So, nagano naman kami, okay, we talked to him.
But what you did was wrong. That immediately put color and bias into the resource persons. What is the business of two representatives speaking to a police colonel who is meant to be under oath, give his testimony? You should not have spoken with him.
No, he was not under oath in the Senate, yes. But when we talked to him, we were talking to him in response to what Colonel Garma said.
No, but in the end, he was going to speak in the Quadcom. They are under oath in the Quadcom, correct?
Yes, that's true, yes.
Yes, so why would you speak
we never...
No, the point is this, Representative Abante.
Yes,
do you, in the lower house, do you all speak to your resource persons before they attend the hearing?
Not necessarily, but in a way in which...
Is that the practice in the lower house?
Karen,
is it the practice in the lower house that you speak?
Sometimes these resource persons would request us to talk to them privately. So we give them some time so we could be able to talk to them privately. But the thing is this, forcing anyone to make an affidavit that will tell them, that will speak lies to them. We don't do that, you see.
Okay, but he did not say you forced him to make an affidavit. This was his testimony in the Senate. Number one, he said first that Congressman Dan Fernandez put the paper he was holding in the table at sinabi, yung paragraph na yun, no, yun ang affidavit ni Colonel Garma. Sinabi niya, ikumpirma mo na alam mo ang reward system. In other words, it appears that you were not objective, both of you, that you were in effect influencing a resource person to corroborate Garma's testimony.
No, we're not.
Accusation niya.
We're not influencing him. We're just asking him because it was Colonel Garma who actually told us, can you please talk to Colonel Grad because he's my classmate.
Regardless, this is not the point.
The thing is
point-
this. I think it's
Okay,
this.
but-
Okay.
But the
I think
point
this,
is, did you speak to a resource person, two representatives, a resource person in private without his lawyer? Did you do that?
No, there were two lawyers there. You see
His
that?
lawyers.
He could be able to call his lawyer too if he wanted to.
No, that's not the point. When you
thing
spoke
is,
with him, spoke with him, was he alone?
The point is this, Karen. No force was given. The point is this. We did not tell him. We did not actually force him to make an affidavit. We did not force him to say that he agrees with Garma. All right? We didn't do that. Oh. We were just
Representative
polite enough
No.
because they wanted to speak to us. We're just polite enough to be able to give them the room for them to say something.
Okay. Another testimony he said in the Senate during that conversation, tinanong mo pa, o ilang taon ka na lang sa serbisyo, baka pwede ka bang general? Was there a part of the conversation that went this way?
That's a lie. The thing is, why would people believe a killer who would say those things?
But why would they believe you?
Even
This
at the
was
Quadcom.
highly inappropriate. The point is, Representative Abante, is this. You and Representative Dan Fernandez put the results of the Quadcom in a compromising situation. It affected the credibility by speaking to a resource person privately.
I don't think so. I mean, we will still pursue the truth, and that is what we want to say. We want to pursue the truth on these things, and I don't think that people would just believe a killer telling lies in the Senate committee.
Well, don't believe that the previous government used killers to testify against former Senator Laila de Lima. That was believed.
We're not talking about the previous committee hearings. We're talking about the hearing now.
Okay, so my question is this. Representative, if you're saying why believe the statements of a killer instead of yourself, why even use him as a resource person? If that's your argument, you said he's a killer, he shouldn't be believed. So why believe him in the Quad Committee hearing?
We would like to find out the truth. Why is it that Colonel Garma changed their statement? Why is it that Colonel Leonardo said that there is still a reward system? I mean, we would like to ferret out the truth. Okay. Now I just said, okay, why would anyone believe a killer? But in our Quadcom meeting, we invite everyone. We invite all the witnesses that would tell us the truth on this. Now, if they will not tell the truth, they will still lie. It's up to them. We are here to investigate. We are not here to lie.
At the end of the day, Representative Abante, why should the people believe now that what he told in the Quadcom hearing is true, that he knew of the reward system, and in the Senate, he would lie by saying that he was asked to confirm it?
That is already, Karen, that is already expected. I mean, we know for a fact that anyone that would go to the Senate would perhaps change their statement. That is already expected, Karen.
But why would he do that? What's in it for him? He's a police colonel. He doesn't want a promotion. If he wanted a promotion, possibly, he would have stuck with the story that he knew of the reward system, given the political environment today. But yet he goes to the Senate and risks actually by saying they asked me to lie.
I don't know, but perhaps he's there to protect the president. Perhaps he's there to just agree with the president, with the former president. You see, we really do not know. We do not know what is in the mind of any person. We expect that to happen, you see.
Okay, so you've denied it, so it becomes he said, she said. In this case, he said. But at the end of the day, looking at your actions and Representative Dan Fernandez's actions, have you learned a lesson not to speak with resource persons before a hearing?
Perhaps, Karen. Perhaps in that way, we were taught a lesson. Sa amin lang, we're just giving them room. Okay? Walang anumang coercion dito. Walang anumang promise of promotion dito. We cannot even promise promotion. Who are we anyway? You see, we just want to let the people know the truth about the EJ case. Mas matindi ang EJ case rather more than any statement of any police officer.
Okay. But at the end of the day, by meeting with a witness, a resource person, you have two sitting representatives, you are co-chairman of the hearing. People can perceive that as undue influence. That's subtle pressure.
I don't think so.
That
When
could be
people,
perceived as subtle pressure,
perhaps,
undue influence. Remember, you are co-chairman of that committee.
perhaps some people would perceive that, but most people will not. I'm the chairman of the Committee on Human Rights, and we would like to find out. You see that? Even in a personal way. Kung halimbawa, nakiusap yung isang resource person, pwede bang makausap kayo muna? So, we give way. We give way. What is wrong with that? You see that? We give way. Because we would like to know the truth of the matter. But then, magkakaroon ng pagkakaiba ng statement niya. Well, it's up to him. It's up to him. You see that? Kami lang, ang amin lang attitude is that hindi naman kami matigas. Malambot din kami na nais namin na malaman ang katotohanan. Kung yung taong yan, nais niya, pwede ba kayong makausap? So why not? Oo. But coercing a person.
But Representative Dan Fernandez was there with you. Representative Dan Fernandez was there with you, right?
Yeah.
And Colonel Grijaldo's statement was firm. Sinabi niya, he put the paper he was holding on the table. I believe he said this in Filipino, and he said, this is the statement you'll say. Tinuturo niya yung paragraph. This is Colonel Garma's supplemental affidavit. Just say you know the reward system. Ikumpirma mo lang. Kumpirma mo to. Hawak yung papel. Why would he invent that story?
Who invented, Karen? We
So
didn't.
why would Grijaldo invent that story?
Okay. Well, I don't know about him. Perhaps you could be able to ask him, why would he invent that kind of a story? See? He might be protecting someone else.
No, so you're saying Dan Fernandez did not do that?
See, he is one of those that knew the killing of General Barayuga. Now, I do not know if anyone would just look at his statement. He was one of those that are accused in the killing of Barayuga. Yun dapat ang sinabi niya. I was not part of the killing of Barayuga. What he has said, you see? And the thing is this, kawawa naman si Colonel Garma. Colonel Garma has a change of heart. She had reflection and she said, I now would like to say the truth because the truth shall set me free. Ang nais lamang ni Colonel Garma is that perhaps you can talk to Colonel Guinaldo. He has a lot of things to say. But all of a sudden, he had nothing to say but go against the statement of Colonel Garma.
But that's what I'm trying to say. That's what a resource person is. It depends, it's a matter of, by looking for the truth, we can't influence them to speak one way or the other. Because now he claims, this is what he's saying. I mean, this is what he's saying in the Senate, that at first he refused Dan Fernandez, right? Sinabi niya wala siyang alam sa reward scheme. Tapos, kinausap mo siya pagkatapos, tas dito mo na parang, this is where undue influence could be perceived or pressure. Sinabi mo daw, tinanong mo, ilang taon ka pa? Ilang taon ka pa ba sa PNP? Sabi niya, I still have 4 years before my retirement. Sinabi mo, you can still become a general. Doon niya sinabing, I'm content with my rank.
Well,
Kumbaga, it means if you say something that is pleasing to this administration, ganun ang dating, is baka maging general ka pa.
Well, talagang mangyayari yan, Karen. I mean, people will always try to excuse themselves or give reasons para baka wala sila sa investigasyon, para hindi na maimbitahan yan, para, para bang no, any investigation in the Senate or the House, hindi naman nakakatuwa yan sa kanila eh. All right? So they will do everything they can to excuse.
But I think there's a lesson here for two representatives. It's the issue of propriety and being beyond reproach. We ask our judges, we ask Supreme Court judges to be beyond reproach, not a hint, right? Not a hint of impropriety. So next time, what will change in how the Quad Committee holds its hearings?
We are not a court, Karen. We are a committee in Congress. And we are just there to investigate and to ferret out the truth so we could be able to craft more laws to prevent those things happening again. You see? So we're not the court.
Yeah, you're not the court, but
We're not there to prosecute.
investigators are also expected to be
Yes,
beyond
but we're not there to
bias or
prosecute.
interest.
We're not there to prosecute. It is up to the DOJ or the NBI to prosecute whatever they might say. You see that? I mean, ano magagawa namin kung magsisinungaling yan?
No, but you don't know
Wala tayong
anymore.
magagawa.
The problem now is the public doesn't know saan siya nagsinungaling, sa inyo or sa Senate. Technically, he recanted his testimony in the Quadcom. That's what he did. He
Correct.
recanted his testimony in the Quadcom by saying that in the Senate.
That would be true. The thing is this, Karen, no? Nakikita namin kahit sa Quadcom, under oath na yung mga witnesses, nagsisinungaling pa eh. Under oath na nagsisinungaling pa sila eh. Alright, nakikita po namin yan. O meron kayong mga ebidensya. But they still lie. Oo. Bakit? Because they know it's not the court. Oh, they can say anything they want to say. Oh, it might even be, for example, like perjurious or what it is, but they still lie. So anong gagawin namin doon? But we are still here. We are still counting that one day these people like Colonel Garma will have a
Well, you
change
can
of heart.
file for
That's the-
perjury if they lie. You can file for contempt if they lie.
We can contempt
They
us,
are under oath.
and that's the reason why we contempt them.
Okay, but the issue at the end is this. You will deny it. He insists on it. Dan Fernandez has denied it. But in the end, how will you proceed with future hearings of the Quadcom?
We will still proceed, Karen, whatever happened. You know, we know that in a way, mangyayari itong mga bagay na ito.
But will you now not talk to resource persons
It will not
before
stop
the
that.
hearing?
Perhaps, Karen, perhaps we have learned something here that we must do. Never talk to a resource person in private. You see that? Perhaps that is what we must do. You see? Oh, we're learning the ropes, Karen. I mean, we're not perfect people. You know, we can do some mistakes sometimes, but the thing is this. Oh, nakita namin, aba, hindi pala maganda yung pagbigyan mo yung tao na gusto makiusap, nakausapin kami. O sabihin na lang namin, okay, humarap ka na lang doon sa Quadcom hearing. Sabihin mo na lang gusto mong sabihin doon. Alright? So, perhaps in that way, Karen, you're right.
All right. On that note, sir, thank you so much for joining me today. We'll be watching the Quadcom hearings. Mag-ingat kayo, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you very much.